Welcome to Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged, a podcast for all women with a creative business who want to learn more about how to make money doing something they love. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur myself, 15 years experience running my own handmade stationery business, Vintage Twee. I'm an established seller on two of the biggest handmade marketplaces, so I've got a whole load of advice to share about how to start and run your own successful creative business. I'm also a wife and a mother, so I get the struggles of trying to do it all while you're raising a family. It's hard. Alongside running Vintage Twee, I'm also a mentor for other women like me who desperately want to work for themselves but just need that bit of support to get going and get their business dream off the ground. I'm a friendly northerner, I'm open and honest with a huge heart and a real fighting spirit, and I'm living proof that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, even in the face of adversity. This podcast celebrates the selflessness, strength, and resilience of women in business. So if you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 and learn how to start your own successful creative business, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. So it's nearly Christmas and this will most likely be the last podcast episode of 2025. How weird is that to say? So I better make it a good one, hadn't I? Well, you're in luck because it is a good one. So get yourself comfy because today I'm telling you all about a little experiment that I've been doing over the last couple of months, all in the name of research, so I can feed the results back to you guys so you can decide whether or not it's something that you want to try for your business. So today we're talking TikTok. 2 words that send chills down my spine. Yeah, 2 words that I've avoided, quite honestly, for the longest time since starting both of my businesses. Can't stand it. It stresses me right out. When I think of TikTok, I just think of these annoying, attention-seeking people who are doing one of 3 things, or all of them. 1, they're either starting or partaking in an annoying trend, which really gets on my nerves. 2, they're talking absolute shit and calling it entertainment. Or 3, they are selling air. And by that, I mean they are literally making stuff up and trying to convince us that it's true and we need to buy it or, buy something from them. You know the type of people that I mean. They usually have these really annoying hooks as well, don't they? You know, the ones that are full of absolute bullshit. You need to hear this. Or, one thing every woman needs to do to be successful. Do this and you'll make 6 figures in 6 months. Whatever. Right? It isn't and it never has been my bag. And I think I've become even more against it since having a kid and seeing these TikTokers that they watch all day long, on YouTube. It drives me insane. I think part of me is just jealous that a 14-year-old is making more money than I'll probably ever make in a lifetime. We're there slogging our guts out for years on end, and they just have done some stupid dance or action or made a phrase up and it's gone viral, and now they're millionaires. And yes, I'm talking about that 6-7 kid. Like, what the actual hell is that about? Yeah, if you've got kids, you'll probably will have seen this 6-7 trend. And it's basically one boy who says 6-7 at a basketball game that he's watching. He says it in a certain way, does a couple of actions. And now he's got like 28 million views. He's got merchandise, he's got a podcast. He's set for life. But, as a 42-year-old woman, knackered mother, menopausal mess and the rest of it, TikTok to me kind of feels like those people that you're always trying to catch up to, but you never can. The ones who you're always comparing yourself to. Maybe they've got a bigger house, maybe they go on fancy holidays, they always look shit hot on the school run, hair's perfect, nails done. Maybe it's that business that you see online that you wish you were as successful as. And it's exhausting trying to keep up with them. And you shouldn't, because you're you. You're never going to be them. So why are you stressing yourself out trying to keep up, doing everything that they're doing, when it only makes you feel inadequate and insecure? And this is how TikTok feels to me. It's like what I like to call a willy waggling contest, for want of a better phrase, right? Who can get the most likes? who can be the most popular, who can look the coolest, the most important, who can be the most successful. Just find it all very egotistical. Like people needing that reassurance that they are liked, that they are popular. And I also find it a little bit seedy. Like, I don't know what comes up on your feed if you're on it, but there's always someone with a tits out that pops up on mine out of nowhere. Honestly, I don't know why this shows up whenever I've gone on TikTok, but it does. However, in the name of research and gathering some hopefully useful information that I can feed back to you, I decided to put all of my personal feelings towards this platform aside, yeah, and run my own little experiment. And I did this by opening a secret TikTok channel. Now, when I say secret, I mean it. I didn't tell anybody, not even Dave, my husband. And the reason for this was because I wanted to see if I could grow a TikTok channel from scratch quite quickly with a whole new audience, and to see if this new audience would be worth my time investment posting on this platform. Yeah, I didn't want to skew the results, I just wanted to see if I could genuinely grow a new audience quicker than I have on other platforms. And if I could, and I got a decent, engaging audience, then I might, just might, yeah, don't hold me to this, take everything back that I've ever said about bloody TikTok. But I was doubtful. Okay, so bearing in mind that I'd never stepped foot on this platform before, I didn't know what I was doing, total newbie to it. I wanted to figure it all out as I went along, but I couldn't be asked researching what to do, haven't got the time, it's just something extra to think about, so I just dove straight in there and I opened up a TikTok account one day, which was easy enough to do, okay? That was the first step. And the second thing I did was I set myself a few rules, just so we could get some decent data. So, okay, these are the rules that I set myself, right? The first rule was I was going to do it for a month. Yeah, I was going to commit to this for one whole month of consistent posting. Wasn't going to be half-assed, wasn't going to be sporadic. I needed at least a good 4 weeks worth of data. My second rule was that I was going to post a minimum of 3 times a week. I'd try different days and times, but I would make sure that I showed up at least 3 times during the week. That was the maximum that I could actually achieve, being realistic. My third rule was that I would make use of all of the 5 hashtags that it lets you. That is the maximum amount they will let you use anyway, but I wanted to try and use them all so that I could reach as wide an audience as possible. My fourth rule was that I would stick to 3 main content topics, or pillars as you might have heard them called before. And my content pillars were going to be crafty tips and advice. Yeah, useful, visual, engaging. People love a good hack, don't they? I was going to do business type posts, so something like motivating, some tips, maybe some sales stuff, things that I can help people with. So I guess more of a professional angle. And then the third topic that I'd focus on would be a bit more personal. So insights to me, behind the scenes, entertaining, emotive, hopefully make people laugh, maybe pull on the old heartstrings. I don't know. So that was my fourth rule. My fifth rule was that I would follow and interact with 3 different accounts each week related to what I'm interested in, my audience. Or who I thought they would be, at least. So like mums, small businesses, creatives, independent business owners and brands. And by interact, I mean more than just a like. I would make meaningful comments on one of their posts, or I'd share it if I could figure out how to do that. But I would actually make an effort to be engaged with these people. Rule number 6 was that I'd be active on the platform for 10 minutes a day. Now, those 10 minutes could be scrolling, interacting, but just basically showing TikTok that I was using the platform and I was trying. I was a genuine active user. Rule number 7, I was going to try and use trending and non-trending audios just to see if that made a difference. And I wanted to try out any other new features that they were rolling out just to see if it did push my account out there. And then my eighth and final rule was that I would include keywords, so words that people might be searching for to find my content. I'd use them in my captions, depending on whatever it was I was talking about. But also, I was going to use them in text on the actual video, which I'll go into later. Okay, so that was it. They were my 8 rules, right? And week 1 began. Now, to be fair to TikTok, it was pretty easy to use. My initial impressions were that I found creating video content on there much easier than it is on Instagram. Like, sometimes, I don't know about you, but I have a nightmare creating reels and editing them on Instagram. It just drives me insane. It takes me forever. But I'd definitely say that TikTok was just a much simpler, user-friendly platform, obviously, because it is mainly video content. That's what it was set up for. So, on that note, I did my first ever TikTok video, right? And I chose to do it on something crafty, a bit of a DIY hack, which was one of my content pillars that I mentioned earlier. So I decided to do a video of me transforming a plain wooden magazine file that I'd got from IKEA into a trendy pink and red striped one that is going to go in my new office. Yeah. And it looked good. So you saw it before, what it looked like, and then you saw it afterwards when it had been done. And I tagged IKEA into it as well. So IKEA UK, tagged them into it. I set a trending audio with the video and I posted it. I posted it at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. I heard that between 7 and 9 a.m. is one of the best times to post because, let's face it, one of the first things that the majority of us do in the morning when we open our eyes is sadly reach for our phones and jump straight on social media, isn't it? So I'm not doing this at the moment. I'm making a conscious effort to start my day with a clearer mind and not have it be infiltrated by all this crap that's out there the second that I wake up. But the reality is a lot of people are addicted to their phones and they check it before the kids wake up or before they go to work. So out it went at 8 a.m. And yeah, I was a bit nervous, I won't lie. Even though my face wasn't on this one, I still wondered if it would actually do anything. Like, I didn't even know what a good view count or whatever was. I had no benchmark other than the 6'7" kid with his 28 million views. Anyway, I was pleasantly surprised. So I checked back after a couple of hours and I'd had like 850 watches. Now, I thought that was pretty good. Like, admittedly, I didn't have anything to compare it to, but in comparison to my Instagram reels, which, to be honest, average around maybe 350 or so for a general post, more if it's a collaboration or it's shared by people, I thought I'd done all right. Thought I'll take that for my first post, yeah. So there we go. I was off to a promising start, though on the surface it may have seemed to have looked quite successful. But then I decided to go into my stats for that post, which was on the TikTok app. And it said that most people stop watching this video after 2 seconds. Bloody hell! They are ruthless on TikTok. Give a girl a chance to show you what she's done with an old IKEA magazine file, will you? Jesus. So rather than get disheartened, I thought, okay, I'll use this information and I'll make my second video shorter because obviously 24 seconds was too much of a time investment for people on TikTok. Now, ideally, they suggest like a 7 to 20-second video, like on the closer to the 7 seconds if you're a new account. So I thought, right, I'm just going to stick to this next time, okay? Come on, Joanne, don't be disheartened. You are not actually that boring. So my second post was a different content topic, and this time I decided to try maybe a business focused, like a motivational one, a quick one of me talking to the camera, maybe giving people a short, snappy line or two just to get them motivated, get their attention, get them following me. So I used a good hook, right? I said something like, I started a TikTok channel and didn't tell a soul, here's why, that kind of thing. Intriguing, a bit juicy, encouraging people to watch to find out what I had to say. And then I posted this on a Wednesday, okay, 2 days later at 5 p.m, which is actually quite a good time for me on Instagram. So I thought, right, it'll be good to see as a comparison how it does on TikTok. Well, it dive bombed, right? Like just 250 views this time in 24 hours. And honestly, it pretty much stuck at that. And it's still at that now, I think. So obviously, I'm not as motivating as I thought I was. And just to add insult to injury, as I was checking out how my post had done on the old TikTok stats, a comment popped up, which I got quite excited about at first. And until I read it, and it said, "Bloody hell, I know you." It was my dad, who apparently is on TikTok. Yeah. And he came around a few days later asking me, "What the bloody hell are you doing on TikTok, bro? Yeah, what's going on?" So that's exactly what he said to me, honestly. So I told him what I was doing because at that point I'd been busted by him and thought, well, it's not exactly a risk of skewing my data. So I asked him, I said, well, yeah, I'm on it. I said, do a little experiment, Dad. I said, what did you think? What did you think of my video? And he just stares at me, like really awkwardly. And he goes, yeah, well, it's good. I just thought your face looked a bit long. Like, seriously, that was his feedback. My face looked long. Great. Thanks for your support, Dad. Anyway, he became my first follower. And then he spent the rest of the month commenting on every single thing I posted and getting himself into all kinds of trouble, which I'm going to tell you about later. Right. You don't want to miss it, trust me. And then my third and final post of week 1 was my third content pillar. So a different topic again. And this time I went for behind the scenes. So it was a fun video of me opening up my notebooks that I sell on Amazon. I thought, I'll do like a cool unboxing video showing people exactly what they look like. It's trendy, it's interesting, at least to me it was. 248 views. A bit shit. So I posted this on a Friday at 3 p.m. Again, another decent time for me on Instagram. It's when their mums are picking their kids up from school. With nothing to do, we've got our last 10 minutes of freedom for the day, so we're scrolling social media. But obviously, on TikTok, it wasn't that popular. I had 6 likes on my posts, 3 followers, one of which was my dad. And my main conclusion was that perhaps the early slot, like the 7 till 9 a.m. one, was actually a pretty good shout for TikTok. But I thought I'll try it again next week with a different content topic, to see if it was the time that I posted or whether it was the crafty content that did particularly well. And so that's exactly what I did to kick off week 2. Yeah, I was feeling optimistic, right? Last Monday's post did pretty good at 8 o'clock. So I thought, right, I'll go again at that time, but I'll do a different content pillar. So this time I chose a podcast clip, a funny one. And it was with a lady that I'd interviewed, and I just took a clip from it. That was quite amusing. And within the first 24 hours, it did pretty good. It was like 650 views or something, right? But the difference was that they were actually watching it for a little bit longer, which was good. Obviously, it was more interactive, which is probably why. And yeah, I was okay with the views and the watch time. So it did still seem that Mondays at around 8 a.m. was a good time to post. I hope you're taking notes. All right, so my second post that week was a couple of days later, again on the Wednesday, which was the same day as the week before. And the week before I did the one of me talking to the camera, which dive bombed with the long face. So this time I thought I'll change the time. Yeah, keep it to a Wednesday, but I'm going to post it in the evening at 8 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. So I went a little later. Again, the time when people might be scrolling their phones if the kids are in bed, or tea's done, showers are done, and you're just having a quick little flick through, aren't you, before you settle down to watch the telly. But I also changed the content, so I went for a crafty post again, like the IKEA one with the magazine holders. That did pretty good. But this time, though, I added a trending audio and I added some text on the video. So not just a caption. So obviously, when you write in a social media post, you have a caption, don't you, that you write as well. But as well as that, you can add text to the video, which appears on the screen. So when you go in to edit your video, you can add what they call a text overlay, and you just write something and it appears on your video. So it's basically, the advantages of this are being that it grabs attention on the scroll because it's there, it's right in front of people. They don't have to click into a caption to read it. And it also helps TikTok know what your video is about so it can show it to the people who are most likely to be interested in it. So it's good practice to do this anyway, even on other platforms too, like Instagram. So the video that I posted had some text on it saying how I create my Santa letter wax seals. Yeah, I thought it was a good hook for people who like DIY videos, who are nosy, It's pretty satisfying as well, watching the wax melt in the burner, being poured out onto the paper and stamped, drew you in. So, how did it do? Not bad. It got 700 views in the first 24 hours and one comment, which I got excited about. Yay, genuine comment. Or was it? Of course it wasn't. It was my dad. And he'd put, pure class, this company. That was it. Thanks, Dad. But I did, however, get a new follower from it, who was an influencer of some kind. So that was pretty cool. And 4 likes. Yeah, I was getting better. I was getting better at this, as painful as it was. But I had to plough on to see if I could hit the nail on the head and find the key to success on TikTok. So I could just tell you guys all about it. It has taken one for the team. Now, my third post of this week was on the Friday at 6 p.m. And I thought, I'll go crafty again. Yeah, since people did seem to prefer this. Plus, it was Halloween week. And I just found a video that I had on my phone of me spraying pumpkins, all kind of colours. Yeah, so a bit of a how to jazz up your porch pumpkins DIY post. Very on trend, very seasonal. It was cool, or at least I thought it was. Bombed again. Just 200 views in 24 hours. And one comment from my dad. Again. Which said, not doing bloody pumpkin soup again this year. Right, good to know, Dad. So I was getting a bit deflated by now, right? I thought I've done 6 different posts now and I've not really had the results that I was hoping for. I've got nothing really to write home about. I mean, my followers were, I think, up to 5, so we were 2 up on last week. My video likes were at 11, so we were 5 up on last week. So, things were moving, but there was no really any meaningful interactions or genuine interest from people. And then that weekend, it was just like we were hanging around the house, and I just heard Dave laughing, as he always does when he's just sat there on his phone, but like howling with laughter. And I asked him, it's like, what's so funny? What are you laughing at? Like, what on earth are you looking at that is that funny? Like, he was literally crying. And he said, oh my God, Joanne, he said, you've got to see this. It's a dog playing with a duck. Bloody brilliant. I just looked at him, sat there on the sofa in his own little world where dogs play with ducks and his coffee's hot and Eden doesn't pull on his arm or his leg or any other body part for that matter and mither him to play dentists or doctors or nail ladies. Must be absolute bliss. Well, I thought to myself, this is it. This is the kind of shit that people are watching and want to see. So, we can't beat them. Let's join them. Let's try it. Let's post a totally random video at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night, purely for entertainment purposes only. Yeah. Now, at that time, my dad was round, and we were all sat in the lounge watching K-pop Demon Hunters for the billionth time. So I got my phone out, and I recorded my dad and Dave doing a stupid dance to the song Soda Pop from the film. Now, if you've seen it, you'll know the dance craze that's going round to the song. People like move their shoulders up and down, alternating them to the beat, So, watching a 72-year-old with a dodgy shoulder and Dave doing his dad dance version of this was pretty entertaining, even, by my standards. It was. Especially when Dad piped up at one point, oh, a bloody physio's going to kill me for doing this. So I posted it, right? Thinking, this is it. This is the one that is going to overtake them all. It's going to prove my point that people just want to watch shit on TikTok. It might even go viral. And we'll be able to move to LA. Dave can finally have his gaming room that he's always dreamed of instead of being shoved under the space under the stairs with his PS5 like Harry Potter. I'd be there doing lamps every morning in my infinity pool. And Eden would be the happiest little girl alive in the school that I had built for her, and all the other children who struggle fitting into mainstream education. That's a dream and a half, isn't it? So what happened? Am I recording this podcast episode poolside from my rooftop in LA? What do you think? This video was the worst of all. Right? Sorry, Dad and Dave. Less than 200 views and 0 engagement. I mean, a few hours later, I got a couple of likes, but turns out they were just fake accounts, so they were completely irrelevant. So this was interesting, or not, according to the audience on TikTok. I don't personally know what's wrong with people. Who doesn't want to see a dancing dad and granddad at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night? Yeah? I do. I think it's hilarious. So at the end of week 2, I was like halfway through my experiment, feeling like I really needed to mix things up a little bit for the next couple of weeks to get some good information and some good data for you guys. However, like everything in my life, it doesn't come without drama. It seems my dad's newfound experience of performing on TikTok opened up a whole can of worms. Or should I say catfish? Yeah. So my dad started recording his own little TikToks every night when he got into bed. They were like his midnight musings, right, of what had happened that day to him. Now, I mean, it literally was midnight. He was in his pajamas. His camera was on selfie mode, like at the worst angle possible. You know, that one where you can practically see up people's nostrils with a double chin, like really dodgy lighting from his bedside lamp. You get the picture. And he was telling funny stories about what he'd been up to, including the one from Bonfire Night, when Dave nearly killed us all with a rocket from the dodgy corner shop. And you know what? He got 25 followers in 2 days. 25. And one of these was 28-year-old Dr. Maria, who he said had messaged him late one night and shown an interest. Now, she was spinning him all sorts of information. She was a doctor, she had lots of money, she was independent, beautiful, young. Guess what? Dr. Maria was lonely. She said it all meant nothing if she didn't have anyone to share it with, Tony. If only she could come to the UK, marry a man just like you, and live happily ever after. Now, obviously, I told my dad this was a classic case of catfishing, and Dr. Maria was most likely a 70-year-old male criminal trying to steal his identity, or at the very least his bank. And after a few conversations back and forth over the next couple of weeks, he did let me block Dr. Maria and then subsequently delete his TikTok account. He is a bloody liability. Anyway, sorry, Dad, if you're listening to this. That drama over, week 3 of my TikTok experiment began. And I thought, right, I'm mixing this up now, right? I want to be a little bolder. I want to be braver, a bit more attention grabbing. And I thought about the kind of stuff that's on TikTok and how it stops the scroll, whether it's decent content or not. Yeah, and it's all about the hooks that you know. And it's all about the hooks. That text at the beginning of a video that's right there on the screen and it says something shocking or something that makes you want to watch whatever it is that person is about to show you or say. So I thought this week I'm going to post some content with some better hooks, some stronger hooks. And I'm also going to try out a couple of the features on TikTok too, which I had no idea how to use, but I thought I'll figure it out. So my first post of week 3 was on the Monday again. And I went for the early slot again, but a little earlier this time. I went for 7 a.m. to catch the people who, go straight to their phone when they wake up. And this post was a bit of a mix between a behind the scenes and a business video. And it was of my new business planner. But my hook wasn't a salesy one. It wasn't like, buy this now. It was actually when you finally make the planner that you've been searching for. Right, and I did a 13-second video, so it was a good amount of time, not too long, not too short, right in the middle of the suggested length of TikTok videos, which is between 7 and 20 seconds. And this time, I just had some inside shots of the planner with a voiceover of me saying, running a business? Finally, a planner that's made for you, created for business owners by a business owner. Everything you need and nothing you don't. And then I just used the text function to add the same text to the video as it played, and basically just said what I was saying on the voiceover, but just the main points to reiterate it. And like I said before, it's really important to add text to your videos on any platform, whether that's like a text overlay like I did, or subtitles, like the closed captions. And not just because it helps the platform understand what you're talking about and push it out to the right people, but also because people often watch videos and they scroll socials with the sound off. I know I do it all the time, mainly when I'm stuck at the end of Eda's bed waiting for her to fall asleep at night and I'm bored and I need something to do. Or I'm having a sneaky browse when she's watching telly, because if the sound is on, there's bound to be like an epic swear word or a whole host of inappropriate content from kind of accounts that I follow that amuse me, so I don't want her to hear it. So yeah, always have some kind of text on your videos or reels so that people who are listening with the sound off can still see what it is that you are talking about. So, how did this post do? Well, actually, it was the best yet in terms of how quickly I got the views. So I was at around 670 views within the first hour, which was better than any that I'd done. Okay. And I also added it to my story, which I think I did by accident because I didn't even know that TikTok had stories. But I thought it won't do any harm. I didn't appear to get any sales off it that I knew of anyway, but I did get some later on in the week from people that I didn't recognise, but I couldn't say whether or not that it came from that video. My second post of that week was inspired by my 6-year-old, because I was starting to run out of ideas. Yeah. And I'd caught Eden in my office with my phone, recording her own little TikTok videos, or pretending to at least. Yeah, so she'd set my phone up in the little phone holder thing, and gone on camera. She knows how to do all that now. Swipes up, knows the passcode and everything. Straight in there. Press record. It's pretty cute. Like, she put on this American accent, so funny, and she was trying to sell and show everything that was practically on my desk, right, including a banana, which I thought was highly amusing and totally inappropriate, but I just couldn't help laugh at her waggling it around in front of the camera with this weird smile on her face. Dave was horrified. I just thought it was bloody hilarious and sent it to about 5 of my friends. So I thought I'll do another video about my planner, but I'd create an even stronger hook and I would directly address a problem of people that I wanted to attract. So this one was of me saying, right, this planner fixes what most small businesses get wrong. I was looking straight into the camera, filtered up to my eyeballs, looking about 10 years younger, with the same text on the screen, right? It was shorter, sharper, it had quick clips, some helpful tips, and it was addressing the problems and the questions that my audience want to see that they're asking. And I finished it with a call to action, and I told them, just follow me for more tips. So it wasn't too salesy. It wasn't like, again, buy this planner. It was just follow me and I'll help you. I'll help you with your problems. And that one went out on a Tuesday at 4 p.m, which again is a popular time for me generally on Instagram. So how did it do on TikTok? It did pretty good. I got 730 views in the first hour. But not just that, I got more likes and more comments than I'd had before, including one from my faithful follower, Dad, who commented with, definitely a business planner to get, folks. Thanks, Dad. But I definitely say that the problem solving hook was a good one. Along with the epic filters, like honestly, I hardly had any makeup on when I filmed that. And you can literally add a face full of makeup on TikTok. Eyes, lips, cheeks. So I even liked it. It was absolutely brilliant. So my last post of this week I did on a Sunday. Now weekends are not normally great for me, so I thought I'll try it, right? Sunday, 8 p.m. Because apparently this is a popular time according to social media experts. For me, it isn't. It's probably my audience. They're all knackered after looking after the kids or the grandkids all weekend and just there sat rocking in the corner in the dark and not on TikTok. So I did a crafty one of me making my confetti cones that I did do for Vintage Twig. Good hook, step by step, short tutorial on how to make your own confetti or sweetie cones out of any pretty paper that you might have lying around. Yeah. And again, this one did good. I got over 700 views again in the first hour, and I got a couple of genuine comments this time and some new followers from it. So at the end of week 3, I was now up to 7 followers. Woohoo! And my video likes were up to 18. Yeah, I was on fire. Sort of. So this brings me to the final week of my TikTok experiment. Did I achieve viral fame? Did I crack the code or the algorithm? Well, kind of achieved one of these. And obviously it wasn't the viral one, since I am not in sunny LA recording this episode by my infinity pool. Instead, I'm in my pokey box room, come office, pissing it down outside. Heating is on full blast because we're due a snowstorm in the next couple of weeks. It's freezing. So what did I discover on my last week of this godforsaken TikTok experiment? Apart from the fact that I still don't like TikTok. Well, I randomly saw this woman posting a video on there during my research about how it's important for accounts to use any new features that TikTok have, as they push those accounts out and basically they reward people when they use them, which I hate the idea of. If someone tells me I need to do something, I'll usually do the opposite. But this was in the name of research, so I thought, okay, I'll try it, I'll see if it makes a difference. And the feature this lady was telling people to try was a grid feature, which was basically where you choose 4 different videos or images to appear on the screen at the same time. So it's like a collage. Okay, now, it's sensory overload, right? But everyone was doing it, so I thought, okay, right, let's try. So again, I chose my planner as the content, and I put 3 different sort of still images of it on there, different angles, one of the inside, one of the outside, one of a quote that's in there. And then the last space that I used on the collage was for a video. And this time the video was of me flicking through the planner so they could sort of see it in live action. So basically you're seeing all these different things at the same time. Now I'm sure you could get pretty creative with this feature if you could be asked, but I'm new to it, so I just did my best to try it out. And I did a short caption which stayed on the screen in the middle, and it just said, "My business brain needed somewhere to live, so I built it a planner." Right, that was it. Now I posted this out again at a good slot. It was on a Monday. It was nice and early at 7 a.m. And I definitely 100% got the best results out of all my videos. Right, and this wasn't measured by amount of views, as that stayed pretty much the same, around 700, 710 mark, but the engagement was different. So people actually saw the video and they commented. And it was people like real people, it wasn't spammers, it was people with small businesses. So a couple of crafters on there. And for this video alone, I got 16 likes, I got 9 comments and 2 saves, which is pretty decent. And they say there was a couple of spammers in there, but on the whole, it was being found, which did kind of confirm to me that what this woman was saying about using the new features to get TikTok's attention and getting rewarded for doing so seemed likely to be true. And to kind of prove this further, the next couple of posts that I did that week were just bog standard, yeah. No new features, and they were back down to views in the 200s again with no engagement. So I lasted 4 whole weeks on TikTok and finished my experiment with a total of, are you ready for it? Drum roll. 25 followers and 54 likes across the 12 videos that I'd put on there. So what were my conclusions from this little experiment? What did I learn in a nutshell that you can take from this and do or don't do for your business? Do I think TikTok is worth it? Okay, so honest opinion, it's like anything, right? The more you put in it, the more you're going to get out of it. So after spending some time on TikTok for the month, I think it's solidified my opinion that it's not a platform that I enjoy being on. And I think that has to be the main motivating factor at play here when you're deciding on the best social media platform for your business. Are you going to enjoy doing it? Because if the answer is mainly no, then there's no point in putting yourself through it. Like, we spend that much time creating content now that if you're not enjoying it, there's no point. For me, TikTok seemed like the kind of place that the people I try not to be hang out. Now, I don't want to offend anyone here listening who is on TikTok because obviously, if it works for you and you enjoy it, hats off to you. I know a lot of people who are having great success on there, including a couple of local businesses near me. But maybe it's TikTok showing me what they think I want to see because of my industry or whatever. But every time I went on there, I was just bombarded with these people telling me what I needed to do on TikTok to make six figures in 6 months, that would be a total failure if I didn't follow them and hang on to their every word. That I'd regret it if I didn't comment below with the word success for their free download that would change my business and my life forever. I mean, these people, honestly, are the types of people that I'm trying to keep my clients away from because it's all bullshit. The truth is, if you want a decent, legitimate source of help to do whatever it is that you're wanting to do, you're going to have to pay for it. It's like anything in life, isn't it? You can't go into Marks and Spencer's, fill up your trolley, go to the till, and then Sheila, the checkout assistant, says to you, "Oh, I'll tell you what, if you go on the Marks and Spencer's Instagram page and comment, vote Sheila for Employee of the Month on their latest post, then you can have your shopping for free." And then you just push your full trolley right out there with 200 quid's worth of food in there. No, it's not going to happen. And neither would getting the ultimate key to success from a free download from a total stranger. It is a con to get your details and sell you something that you don't need and won't change your life, believe me. I actually really hate freebie funnels, and TikTok is full of them. Now, I don't want to be a total negative Nelly here, so let me point out a few positives about the platform because there were a couple of things that I did actually quite like, as much as it pains me to say this, right? And I can see why people enjoy using the platform. So, number one, it was very user friendly. It was much easier to make a video on there and edit it than it is on Instagram, for example. Hands down. It's more simple, straightforward, and just easier to navigate when it came to adding things like music and text. Number two, it seemed to get results quicker than other platforms, like views, I mean. Okay, so most of the views came in pretty quickly and then they steadied out after the first few hours, which was good and bad. It's good because you can see instantly if people are watching it, but it's bad because they seem to have a really short shelf life of like a few hours, and then after that, they'd been sent off to the island of ancient videos, never to be seen again. I think that timeliness, is that a word? If it is, then I think it's a big thing with TikTok because it seems like it's got to be released at the right time for maximum results, which is obviously going to take some experimenting and can be quite depressing if you're making content that just falls off the face of the earth after 3 hours. Supposed to be talking positives here, right? Number three, good thing about TikTok. Now, this is purely a vanity one here, but the filters are bloody amazing, right? You don't even need to bother doing your makeup, they'll just do it for you. I loved that, especially because I do most of my content at the end of a very long day of parenting. It's a really useful feature for me. Number four, I liked that it actually didn't feel pressured, right? Surprisingly, like, as a new account, I was just experimenting. And there's so much shit on there. I actually think anything I put on there would have been pretty good, honestly. So I didn't feel that pressure, like to perform as such. People didn't know me. And I guess if you were starting a new account, you could also do the same and just experiment and see what did well and what didn't. Number five, it was quick to put me in front of the people I was trying to reach. So I think it soon cottoned on that my account was for small business owners, and then it quickly started suggesting small business owners for me to follow. And of course, they usually followed me back, which was good. Now, obviously, the longer you spend on the platform, the quicker it will do this for you. So potentially, I think you could build an audience pretty quickly on TikTok. Number six, I also quite like the fact that captions weren't as important as the text on the main video. So yes, it was important to still write a caption so that TikTok knew what your video was about, but it was more important to get those keywords and that content on the screen, like as part of the video. So a mega detailed caption seemed much less of a pressure to do. Plus, they also limit you to 5 hashtags, which I did like. So you kind of knew where you stood with that. So, in conclusion, let's summarise the main information that I think will be the most helpful to you if you are thinking about starting a TikTok. Okay. First, stick to 3 main content themes and rotate between them just to see which one people prefer. Now, just try some. Obviously, I did crafty DIYs, I did business tips and some behind the scenes, stroke entertaining stuff, which didn't turn out to be that entertaining. But it depends on what you do as to what you're going to choose, obviously. Second, I would say create strong hooks. A sentence that appears at the very start of your video to give people a reason to keep watching. Third, I would say get that text and those all important keywords on your video as text overlay. So TikTok can read what your video is about and put it in front of the right people. Fourth, post early, 7 till 9 a.m. Get those sad bastards who reach for their phones the minute they open their eyes. Hopefully my husband isn't listening to this episode. Fifth, post late, like 10 p.m. onwards. Again, catch those late night scrollers who are getting their fix before they go to sleep. Because let's be honest, these are probably the same people as the ones who are on it again at 7 a.m. Sixth, I would use the new features, right? If you aren't sure what they are, just spend a bit of time scrolling your homepage feed because there's always some annoying person on there telling you exactly what they are and what you should be doing to be as successful as them. Seventh, I would follow relevant accounts and comment, have a meaningful interaction with them. Now, I followed 3 every time I was on TikTok, so three times a week. But the general rule on Instagram anyway is, they say, to like 5 posts every day, to leave 3 meaningful comments every day, and to follow 1 relevant account every day. They call it the 5-3-1 rule. So like 5 posts, leave 3 meaningful comments, and follow 1 relevant account per day. So maybe this will be my next experiment and we can see. 8th is the time of your videos, right? Don't start at the 24-second video like I did. People literally give you 2 seconds of their time before they scroll up, all right? They say 7 to 20 seconds max. So until you're established, definitely stick to the lower end of that. And the 9th, and I think final piece of advice that I can impart after my TikTok experiment is you need to commit to it if you're going to do it. Now, obviously, mine was just for fun, and it's not a platform that I particularly want to be on or intend to stay on. But if you think that it will be good for you and the kind of audience that you want to attract, then I suggest you go big or go home, right? I would just focus on that one platform for a good 6 months to a year and just see how much progress you can make without the distraction of other socials. We've all got limited time at the end of the day, so I think you just have to pick one social media platform and go all in. And I do see people on there making such a success of it, like they totally nailed it. A lady that I started following just films herself making Slimming World recipes in a kitchen. Step-by-step videos of her making soup, chopping courgettes and carrots up. I mean, it's not exactly riveting stuff, but it was bloody useful when you sat there thinking, what the hell are you going to make for tea? Which takes minimal effort and 2 ingredients, carrots and courgettes. We need this kind of stuff in our lives, don't we? So think about these kind of step-by-step guides, videos, tutorials when you're thinking of your content, because they genuinely do seem to attract and keep people's attention the most. Oh, and I guess one more very, very final piece of advice would be, don't let your dad find you on there. Okay, so that brings me to the end of today's episode and the last one of 2025. And I just want to say a big end of year thank you to you for listening to me, for telling me that you enjoy the episodes, and most importantly, that they help you. I received a lovely email a couple of weeks ago from someone who said that she just loves listening to the podcast and it really helps her with her small business. And it's why I do it. I love hearing these things. And this year we actually hit 7.5 thousand downloads for Handmade Hustle podcast, which for me is absolutely unbelievable and a massive achievement. So thank you for always listening. Now, there's so much in store for 2026 for Her Handmade Hustle, which I will talk about what this means for your business in the new year. But in the meantime, do me a favour. Can you go and check out my new website, which I've redesigned and tweaked again? And I want you to see how the way that I'm going to be working is going to be changing. And the main reason is to help you in the best possible way that I know how. So there's more to come on this in January. But for now, please do go and take a look. Let me know what you think. I'm wishing you all a truly wonderful Christmas and New Year. Spend it with your loved ones, eat chocolate, stay in your PJs, have a Baileys at breakfast, whatever makes you happy. And I will see you in January for a brand new year of Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast.